Hello and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and thank you all for your lovely messages in the chat in regards to our new intro music there for the Talking Town Extra time. It's Talking Town, but a little bit extra, so I thought we'd go the extra mile with the intro. And if you're not feeling like getting on a plane and flying to Ibiza right now, then, well, I don't know what's wrong with you, because I do, and I can't dance for toffee. Welcome. So it's a Monday. I always thought when we did this show, would we have enough to cover on a Monday? Well, today we certainly have, because blue action. Be careful with the blue word after that, because I keep saying a different word, and it's not action, it's Monday, I'll be honest. And blue action sprung into action and delivered something at Playford Road. Do you agree with it? Let us know in the chat or come on the show. If you don't disagree with it, the exact same thing, why don't you disagree with it? I know Matt Phillips is not a big believer of it, or he feels it was good, but it should have been better or bigger. Let's have your say. Obviously, COVID-19 is still here. It's still prevalent. Welcome in, Ryan. Welcome in, Stephen Emerson. Evening all. What an intro. Absolutely. Michael Rattle. Tune. Always big tunes here on Talking Town. Adam Flapp. Martin will be headlining space in Ibiza with tunes like, yes, I certainly will be. Yes, Stuart, welcome in. Right, let's bring in the people I will be joined with this evening. First of all, he was with me over the weekend. He's joining me once again. Is, of course, our royalty. Where is his intro? I know it's here somewhere. Here it is.
Man, I'm gully and techie. You want me, then check me. Just butt me, I'm ready. I need that money in heavy. I'm banging these raps like Pumpy with Shelly. Shell it, bad it, I'm dipping. I said that I'd leave, but I'm back in the kitchen. She pour it, back it, I'm sipping. Feeling away, but she tackling feelings. Man, I'm gully and techie. You want me, then check me. Butt me, I'm ready. I need that money in heavy. Banging these raps like Pumpy with Shelly. Shell it, bad it, I'm dipping. Said that I'd leave, but I'm back in the kitchen. She pour it, back it, I'm sipping. Feeling away, but she tackling feelings. I hit it and stirring, gassed it. She calls it childish, I call it tactics. White doors on a coupe, but I wrapped it. Got a next one, remapped it, rapid.
Mr. King Kally Bisla. The king is in the room. Court is in action. How you doing?
Mate, I was holding down a little two-step in the green room. First I was cutting shapes with an Ibiza.
Big fish, little fish, cardboard box. Big fish, little fish, cardboard box.
This is the only podcast that will have you wanting raving and having a little drink and having a little rave on a Monday night. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If you can't get up on a Monday, when can you get up? That's what I want to know. Amy, what's that grin in the green room there? Look, I won't tell her what she thought about my overlays. How are you, King Kally? How are you?
Good, I'm good. Just catching up on everything on Twitter with.
It's gone mad, isn't it? Right? It's gone mad, yeah.
I didn't know there were people that disagreed, to be honest. Like, obviously, to each his own. Everyone's got their own opinion, but
the Cruncher, he's turning heel on his tag team partner, the Media Mogul. What a lemon! You've got
this is like the
Stephen.
end.
Go on.
I was gonna say that Cruncher and Matt there. That's like the end of the Rock and Sock connection, isn't it?
Well, is it exactly? Facebook users, is that all? Waterways. If it was me, I'd have burnt the roast egg at least. Well, this is it. Let's bring in, of course, the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Diamonds, 1 in a million. It is, of course, Amy Downs. Amy, your intro is still in production, so I'm sorry.
I feel second best now.
You're never second best on Talking Town, but welcome in, my lovely. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. You said earlier you're worried that we might not have things to talk about, and you've got me and Kally on the show. You know you'll never run out of things to talk about with us around.
This is it. I will now drop the link in the chat for those that want to come on, because we're going to kick things off. Yes, Brett Rogers, Amy needs an intro. She has got one, technically, but I made the Christmas intro so good. I set the bar so high that I've not yet hit something that I feel is adequate for our Queen of Diamonds, or Queen of Thorns, as some say. I love you, Amy.
She is.
I love you.
Brett is one of my dearest friends. Brett is one of my football fam. He's been meaning to come on and watch this for a while, but you know, whenever I'm on the show and I'm saying, "Oh, yeah, me and my mates were talking during the game, and this is what my mate said," it'll be Brett. The words of wisdom that I come out with sometimes, it's usually come via Brett.
Oh, really? Okay, so Brett, you're to blame. Is that what you're trying to say to us?
Yeah, totally to blame for everything, especially Tranmere away.
Okay, there's a story here. Talk to me about Tranmere away.
That was messy. We got into Liverpool at 10 a.m. That was great fun, absolutely fantastic. And when Caden scored the winner, our other friend Alan came and jumped on me because I was about 3 rows in front of him, and he sent me flying down the stairs, and I was sat like a turtle at the bottom of the stairs with my feet up the stairs, and I couldn't get back up again. And there was a video of it somewhere.
Oh, it's video proof, King. There's video proof. We need to see that, definitely. I can hear the little rings in my ear. Oh, that what was a ringtone, but there is actually a ring in my ear as well from people coming into the VIP section.
Love it.
So let's kick things off with Blue Action's action today. Something that Rich, obviously on the podcast, if you've been listening to, has said maybe they're not enough of. He's been calling them no action. Well, today they decided to go into action. First of all, before I bring in some of our guests I can see in the VIP room, hello guys. Amy, where do you stand on this? Obviously, for those that don't know, they went to the training ground this morning. There was flares and they chanted Lambert out. Stuart Taylor appeared to have given a little bit back to them. From what I could make out, and this is just from my dodgy half hearing, because I'm half deaf, I believe he said something along the lines of, "Jeffing brilliant, that's how you support the lads, well done." Then it was inaudible, and then it was well done. And then that was pretty much it. So where do you stand on it? Are you for it, against it? What do you think?
I'm totally for it. I think fair play to them. I had somebody say to me on Twitter earlier this week that yeah, Brett's just Tranmere away. We got kicked out of Wetherspoons, and we weren't being noisy. I think we'd just been on the booze all day. Anyway, yes, totally in support of what Blue Action have done. Personally, I think it's nice to see somebody taking action. There is very, very little that we can do. I'm really enjoying the people who are paying the away team to watch on iFollow at the moment rather than paying Town. I think that's a really good idea, and I'll be doing the same next time. But I think that what else can we do? There isn't a lot else, and I think that that's great. It's done the job it was meant to do, and that is it's blown up on Twitter. Everyone is talking about it. My sister works for a photo agency, and she messaged me as soon as that came in. So it's obviously getting picked up by the media, which is great, and that's what we need. And then when you get a response from someone like Darren Bent asking what on earth is going on, then you know you're hitting the right notes. So fair play to them, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my nan, bless her, she phoned me up and she said, "Martin, what's Darren Bent going on about?" I was like, "Oh, nan, sit down, bless you. It's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long conversation, this one. Get the biscuits out." Kally, where do you stand? Obviously, Amy's in full for it. A lot of people are. I imagine you are. You clapped it on.
Yeah. No, I'm all for Blue Action. I was down to do the protest at Swindon, obviously, before all lockdown happened. I think it's one of those that I was saying to you guys earlier, I've not come across any Town fans that are not supporting it. That's not to say people aren't there. I just don't know that. A lot of my interaction with Town fans is digital, right? I live in Cov, so it's all Twitter, YouTube, whatever, right?
Mhm.
So, and a lot of them are, maybe we're talking about different generations or whatever, like you said, your nan or whatever, right?
Oh, she's for it. Now she knows what it is. She's definitely for it.
And I think if I try and look at it like from their perspective or that, where they're coming from, it's like, what, should you be protesting or whatever? Well, I think everyone will agree that the results aren't going the way. The manager's clearly not getting the best out of the team. What else can we do? And I'll be absolutely honest, I wasn't expecting anything to happen in a form of a protest until lockdown had eased. So fair play for them for using that. I know there'd been some talks on Twitter saying, I think Statman put it out there anyway, saying that there's a little path or whatever, or someone put it out there saying there's a path or whatever to go down. You can go for your exercise or whatever. And whether it's Mike can do 9 people in a car park, we can get 20 people with flares. So it's I thought it was good because it caused a reaction straight away. I mean, and then you had Stuart Taylor, which he's got no skin in the game. What's he actually done? Right? Who's he played for? What's he done or whatever? He's just been Lambert's. He's gone wherever Lambert's gone. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that even matters. What matters is he represents the club and we're the ones paying their wages, and he should have been much more tactful than that. Even if he'd gone over and said, look, guys, the smoke's going to affect the players, you've made your point, and had a chat with them.
He didn't really say anything, right? And the thing is one thing saying, well done, guys, what the fuck or whatever, but he said something along the lines of, that's the way to support your team.
The same way I'd react in, I don't know, Tesco. Someone ran over my foot with a trolley. It wouldn't really mean you're an absolute jeffing. But your morning's preparation at work is being disturbed when your job is on the line. Everyone knows their jobs are on the line.
Yeah,
their eyes are on their jobs, and it's on getting that team ready for tomorrow. You mentioned Mike Brown. Let's bring the fisherman in. You just needed 9 men, Mike. In the end, it needed a handful. Where do you stand on this blue action?
I think it's brilliant. I really do. I think well done to the lads. I haven't always. I was kind of on the fence to start with them, but I got to admit, I think that's brilliant. And the way Taylor's gone across and opened his gob like that, you look, that's it. Well done supporting the fans. But hang on, the players. Actually, no, we're not. We are supporting the players. What we're not supporting is the regime that you and the manager are bringing to the club. Yeah. I know that we all talk about Evans, don't we, as one of the main reasons why we are, but where we are. But I mean, what else can we do? We're in lockdown, and we've got to do something. This is our club we're talking about here.
Yeah,
I rate it. Highly rated. Rated.
Facebook user. It has been on Twitter, yes, but it's just not Ipswich. I get the club is in crisis, but there are better, more sensible methods.
Like what?
I'm not sure the players would really find that productive. I see the milk tray man nodding his head, so I'll bring him in. Ben, welcome in, my man. You're nodding your head there. Do you agree with that?
It's funny. I don't agree with it at all today. I think it was absolutely terrible idea. And I agree with protesting because we don't have a lot of voice at the moment in lockdown. But we've been waiting for years and years for the quiet, docile Ipswich Town fans to rise up and actually have their voice. And what do we get? 3 men and a dog doing a gender reveal party on the side of a training ground. I should have said you wait 2 months and go there with 300 people and do it, and don't do it like the Poundland Ultras. I think we wait all that time.
Do you want to wait 2 months with Lambert still in charge?
That's the thing. You can't wait.
If Lambert's going to go, it ain't going to be because they let off a flare at the side of a training ground. The players know how we feel. They're all on social media and Twitter. This ain't going to hate. If anything, shall I tell you what's going to happen? It is a radical idea for you. Lambert has not lost that dressing room. They're all behind him because most of those players wouldn't be anywhere near the first team if Lambert was not in our club and it was someone else. They want him to stay.
Come back at him.
Mike, come back
at him.
Ben, you know I love you, mate.
I love you too, man.
Give your head a wobble, son. Give your head a big wobble, my man. Yeah. Look, I kind of get where you're coming from. Is there any need for flares? And you say, the players with Lambert? I would suggest no, based on the performances. I know we had one really good one against oh gosh, gone now.
Can't even remember.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? How bad is that? I mean, look, on the plus side, guys, we didn't lose at the weekend, did we? Do you know what I mean?
Very true. And Chambers
There is a
start.
plus to this. I think if we went in lockdown and it was done, then I think we'd all agree, okay, we should have been a bit, but we are in lockdown. Something needs to be done because we're all fans of the club, and I think it's brilliant that our fans now on away games are now buying the away iFollow. I think that's brilliant. I think that's we've got to have some sort of communication with the club. The hierarchy are refusing to talk to us. They've been invited God knows how many times to come on the show. And Martin, this show is everything that should be with it, as regarding podcasts and what it should be with connections to Ipswich. It's a brilliant show. I've never got involved in anything like this before, and I'm fully behind it. And I just feel that if I can get behind something like this, we can get behind. I know Blue Action, like you said, it was a little bit, but what else are we supposed to do in this situation? It's very important that the message gets across. Maybe some of the players are with Lambert, or they are, but I mean they're professional. They're being professional. They're, I could tell you, some of the nurses are not happy with the management. Some of the NHS hospitals, but they're being professional. They're not coming out and saying anything about it, are they? They're just getting on with their job and they're doing it. I feel that's where the players are really. I think we know that we need a change in management. Blue Action, what else are they supposed to do? Yeah, give me nine fans, and we'll block a car park and stop the players getting in the car park for a game and delay the game. That's all it takes. Small things can make big changes.
I agree. And at that level, because you're talking about levels, at that level, I'd be one of those 10 with you, Mike. I really would, because then it has an effect. But what I'm thinking is our fan base is like a powder keg. We're waiting for someone to do something to let the lid blow off of the place and actually affect change. Social media ain't doing it. Doing all social media, the players is not doing it. I think people are starting to cancel their season tickets.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Wish that the one time that we don't, we release our steam, it's not that 3 men and a dog thing. That was the equivalent of, how on like a Tuesday night at Ipswich, and it's in the rain and we're losing 2-1, and it's about 68 minutes, and 300 people start chanting, "Come on, Ipswich." That was the equivalent of protest today. It's something you could argue.
No, hold on.
But I'd rather wait for 6 weeks and go in there and fucking force.
I wouldn't, right? So on that, right, needs must. It's whatever you can do at the time. Like I said earlier, I didn't think anything would happen until we're out of lockdown. They said, we can't wait till lockdown. They organised something. So they've done something there. But I think, where was Mike D? Put that comment up saying it's got Darren Bent talking about it. So all of a sudden, there's a bit more, because Suffolk, it's a bit isolated. We're a bit of an isolated fan base. We don't get picked up in the national, media or whatever. There's not a lot of coverage going on. So all of a sudden, and Darren Bent's tweet, the way he ended it was brilliant, saying, he basically said the fans were great, and goes, when they're not happy, clearly there needs to be change. So he didn't say Lambert out, but he effectively said the manager needs to go. When you've got an ex...
Will it make a difference?
No, but it adds more pressure. It adds more pressure. Yeah. And listen, we're all human. How much pressure can you take? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how astute of a businessman Marcus might be, or a pro that Paul Lambert may be. How much pressure can a human being take? And eventually, someone's going to crack. So we've just got to keep piling it on.
This is so much better than the posters, though, isn't it, Amy? This is actually bringing it to life. This is actually doing it.
I think it's all important. I don't think you have to have one massive blow up and nothing else. This is the ball rolling, and it's going to get more and more and more, and you're going to pick up more people on the way. You're going to get more people cancelling season tickets. You're going to get more people paying the away team for the iFollow, which I've now seen it on social media, so I will now do it. I don't think you have to say it's one or the other, and I think that what they did today started that. It's got us all talking. It's got people saying that they want to make a change, and it's got people thinking about how they can make a change.
I'll concede that, because you're talking about entropy, and you're talking about something actually getting a bit of momentum, and I concede that. I don't know. You look at Celtic, when they're not pleased with their manager, they have a full-on civil war in the streets.
Yeah, they have protests. When have Ipswich ever protested?
That I agree
I
with.
certainly
Never.
can't. So
Ask
we are a
Richard.
very
Yeah, with Jilton. We
I
had
was there. I was there with Richard. Unbeknownst to
King
me, I was there with Richard.
Duncan. I mean, when things get really bad,
That's
this
what
is
every 10 years. Every 10 years,
well,
we've got a
yeah,
protest.
but isn't that why Darren ended the tweet the way he did? When this fan base reaches the point it's reached now,
Exactly.
that's when action. And
Exactly.
I applaud them for that. But I do take what Ben says on board there. Mike,
Yeah.
I love you. I appreciate it. I'm going to bring Lewis in.
All
Look
right,
after yourself.
cheers, guys.
Cheers, Mike. So, Lewis, I'll bring you in. Ben, obviously, is dead against it. Guys in the chat, if you want to come on and debate Ben with this, you're more than welcome to. Lewis, where do you stand on this, Lewis?
I get what Ben has been saying, but we've got to have our voice heard, and with all the media throughout the day, it's definitely put a lot of pressure on. Like even like what Amy just said regarding how Taylor reacted. You think there's a guy under pressure who's reacting now. I know, obviously, you said about the him like about his work and stuff, but you can see we've got us fans have got to get a change somehow. In which way? With the protest, I know obviously it wasn't. We could have done it in 6 weeks and got more of the fan base involved. But at least we've done something instead of obviously the banners and stuff, which wasn't the club would just take him down before Lambert gets there, or there'd be a bit of whisper of him and he'd be thrown under the carpet. So I get both ways, but I think we had to do something at some point, and today was the day, really.
I'll just say before I've got to go, because I've cooked dinner and I've got to go and serve it.
Disgraceful action. You know we're alive.
Sorry, but I just wish it had been more. And I think if 3 seasons of Malays getting relegated with the worst points tally ever, a drop-off that was almost biblical last season, and 12th place in this season, it ain't going to be a little protest that's going to change things. That there are problems deep in this club, but there are also problems with making big decisions. It ain't going to be a protest. I think 6,000 people could cancel their season tickets right now. It ain't going to make any difference. It needs to be bigger. I'm not saying I know what it is. I usually can't stand it when someone just moans and they can't present a good alternative. I just don't think it was it. This is not going to be some catalyst. They're too stubborn for it. And if it was a catalyst, last season would have been a catalyst when we dropped off, like it was some apocalypse going to happen. If that didn't affect change, this ain't. But that's me being cynical, and we're all a bit cynical at the moment. Okay. So that's my 2 pence worth.
Okay, Ben, appreciate it as always. Look after yourself. Enjoy that meal.
Enjoy your dinner.
Kally, you can fire away with your point there, my friend.
No, I was just saying, like, I understand a bit more from people that don't agree with the protest today. You know, Ben's put his point across there. But the thing is, who says it's a one-off thing? Like, we have to go now, we're in 6 weeks. Like, we do this now. Look at posters. There was a couple of posters. There wasn't like a one poster. There was a couple, right? Who's to say that, like, I honestly now think, I know I said before he'd probably go before season tickets. I think season tickets won't get announced. They'll be delayed in announcing them, right? And I think Lambert will see the last game here. Because I think salary cap now, the pressures, go again next season type of thing. So I think hopefully when we come out of lockdown, whenever that, maybe, hopefully we're talking like March time, mid-March or whatever, there could be another protest and there could be proper amount of fans voicing it. I think this is just the start. And the most powerful thing to happen from that protest was Darren Bent picking it up, in my opinion, because now it's taking it to a different audience.
Well, this is it. And obviously you yourself and Amy are both based outside of Suffolk, and Ben Moore makes a fantastic point. Welcome in, Ben. I'm glad you could join us. We are known as Sleepy Suffolk, so to have Darren Bent talking about it will get heard, hopefully. That's such a huge thing that can't be underestimated, right? That a national pundit has picked this up and has tweeted it to his following. And we are seen as Sleepy Suffolk outside of Suffolk, aren't we?
Yeah,
it's a bit like when McCarthy went and the national media were like, why? What has he done wrong? And actually the media then started covering what had gone wrong. And eventually, we still get the odd dig by people who don't really understand the situation, but eventually the story did make sense and it did get out there, and we can hold our heads up, I think, knowing that actually it was the right thing for him to go, but that's debatable. I think the point is that this is now starting to get, for neutral onlookers, the knee-jerk reaction today was, what the hell was that? There was about 3 kids by a fence. But actually, when you start to look into it, as proper journalists should, and they start to see the, the support that it's getting from the Ipswich fans, it's going to make people sit up and think, well, hang on a minute, Ipswich fans don't behave like this. That's not what they do. Why? How has it gone that bad? Particularly, there's been a few Norwich fans sharing the Lambo Rambo poster today, like laughing, oh, that went well, didn't it? And I was like, well, yeah, because that's how much we were behind him 2 years ago. And that's how drastically it's changed, how drastically it's gone downhill. I saw a stat earlier, going on results so far, we're heading for 9th in the league. And I was like, oh, that'll be all right. Like, not that it would be all right, but that's higher than I think we're going to finish. And 9th in League One, it's ridiculous. It's people who know the club of old will be shocked.
Darren Bent's Twitter following, 480,000. That's a huge number that can't be underestimated. That's the start of a snowball effect, isn't it?
Well, he's on Talk Sport, he's on Sky Sports, he's doing some good punditry or whatever. He's about, and he's active on his socials, right? So he's managing himself quite nice. I'll tell you what it did. So my old man, he lives up in Wolverhampton. He's a Man United fan. He listens to Talk Sport, and I think he's discovered Twitter or Instagram. I can't remember which one he's discovered. I ain't followed him back yet. But he's discovered that, and he's followed him or whatever. It must be Twitter actually, because he said he goes, what's Darren Bent on about? What he did, looked at the table. How are you guys in 12th in League One? And it's like, well, there you go. Where do you want to start? Do you know what I mean? And this is it. It's outside. So from the outsiders here, like outside Suffolk, people pick it up. At the moment, the whole Lambert thing is isolated very much to Ipswich, right? Yeah. I wouldn't even say the whole of Suffolk. It's not even East Anglia. It is just Suffolk.
Lewis, it's in. Tom tells us. Tom James, welcome in. Tom, I'm glad you can make it. I'm glad you're here. Daily Mail's all over this. That's like 4 odd million. I know people read that newspaper. Marcus Evans once tried to buy a newspaper. I don't think it was the Daily Mail. I think it was the Mirror, if memory serves me correct. I'll check that in a minute. But this is huge for a guy that wants to sort of control the narrative almost in Marcus. This is huge. Yeah. This is getting out now. The genie's out of the bottle, so to speak. This is huge, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think Evans will now look and think, in his ways, it might raise a few eyebrows from in the club. But will it, like, going back to what Amy was saying about, I live in Little Clacton in Essex, and I put it on our Clacton branch page, Clacton branch supporters club, and I got a few mixed results on my shared on the page and stuff. And in one of my mates, who's a West Ham fan, messaged on our group chat and said, "Oh, what's going on at Ipswich and stuff?" And you get people, they want the blue action, and you think a lot of people are seeing it from outside, other fans and stuff. And you've even got the Norwich fans at the often Talking Town.
It's the Norwich City, Chris Reeve, I think it was. Yeah,
he shared it, and I know it's him, but even their fans are. I know they're laughing at us, but at least it's a bit of publicity that side as well. But I think Evans has got to. You think with the Daily Mail, I think that's a big story. Big story.
It sparks. It doesn't matter whether it's five people or 1,500 people. There's a story there. There's something to talk about, and it's gone national. It ripples. It's a ripple effect. It will just get bigger and bigger, hopefully. And as long as this is the start of something and not a one-off, do you know what I mean? And I'm not condoning them to go and break lockdown or whatever, right? We're not on the show anyway. But if they want to, if after lockdown and we're all allowed out or whatever, 2 meters apart, masks and all that or whatever. You can get your mask Talking Town, by the way. Don't forget.
Nice plug.
He's good, isn't he? He's good. No, but you're right though, because for the visual, I think. So if I'm Matt Phillips for a minute, for the visual, it looks so much better what Marseille did when we showed it on the show a couple of weeks ago. So visually, it looks better with more than 4 people, 5 people, 6 people. Though. Exactly.
And fan base. You can't compare the same fan bases. And whether you want to call it Sleepy Suffolk or whatever, the thing is, we give managers time. We are a patient fan base, right? We are a patient fan base. If you look in our history, I can't remember the number now, but if you look in the history of our total number of managers, You know, it's not a lot at all, right? I don't know the numbers. Maybe someone could put it in the chat or whatever. But there's not a lot of managers we've gone through. We've stood by managers.
I think
and
it's
stood by-
20. I think off the top of my head, it's 20. I think. Lewis, I appreciate it. I'm going to bring in Stephen. Stephen, welcome in. That many people, daily papers all over it. Ben's not for it. Kally loves it. I'm agreement. Where are you sitting on it at the moment? Surely it's going to grow and grow and grow from here, isn't it? This is it. This is the end times.
Well, I think the end times is coming for Paul Lambert anyway, very soon. But the protest itself was perfect. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's three people or 300 people.
Stephen, sorry to interrupt. Close your door, please, bro.
Stop that beep out, mate.
I just said the beep. All right, sorry.
I didn't hear it because I didn't hear it. But you know, at the end of the day, yeah, we were told by the government. You know, so some of it we have no control. And I don't know what these people are talking about because you can turn around and say, well, in 6 weeks we can have a big protest. How do we know? That's not up to us. We can't control that. We might be like this for another 12 months yet. Let's get a grip. We can't be like this for 12 months. You know, at the end of the day, if it's only 3 people and a dog, so be it. That's all we can do. So be it. I'd rather that than nothing. I get Matt's point. Yeah, a bigger protest would have more impact, and I understand that. And I don't really think he should be getting the grief. Sorry about that, I tell you. I don't think he should be getting the grief that he's getting just because he's stating a point of view that a bigger protest has a bigger impact, because that's all he was doing. Yeah. But I do think having a big protest, it did what it said on the tin. You know, Benty got it out to his 500,000 followers. We don't know who all them followers are. They might be tweeting it out to people they know. You know, I can tweet whatever out. Hardly anyone's going to see it. Same for yourself. You know, hardly anyone's going to see it. He tweets it out. You can guarantee millions of people are going to see it. You know, so it's doing its job. And at the end of the day, it's all about putting exposure on Marcus Evans. Owners don't like to be exposed for failure. Yeah. And once it gets out that Marcus Evans has got a failure in his club, he will want to get rid of it. Because the simple fact is it looks bad on him. He's going to go to what all the other owners and go, well, he can't do that because everybody go, sorry, Pepe, your manager.
Yeah, but he'd just shove Lee O'Neill out there. He don't meet nobody. Like Darren McAnthony had to tell Marcus to turn his camera on in a meeting. He said that on the show himself. Like, I get the point, Stephen, but Marcus is not that guy. And actually, if you talk about failure removal, he's the failure, and he's not going to remove himself, and that's what he should do.
You've got 100 million, he's going nowhere. So we better start realising this. You know, let's just get a manager in. Marcus Evans, for all I care, can bugger off to Jersey and stay there forever. I don't care. Yeah,
nice Jersey. I like Jersey.
All we need is a manager to come in, yeah, who knows how to wheel and deal in the transfer market, who's got a plan, who can set it up, get success, maybe over time, but get
success. Mick, dear.
I don't give a shit right now. I wouldn't take him back, but I'm sure there's better options. But what I'm saying is, yeah, Marcus Evans doesn't need to be anywhere near. He can just put it up on Saturdays and watch the game.
I've got
if you've got the right one in.
Sorry to interrupt. I've got a few comments I've got to get through before they disappear from my screen. Mike D said Blue Action has sent off flares at Stevens in regards to the beep. Google user 5-point protest against the beep. Sid Driver, more beeps in one show than we've won games on the Lambert. The beep is the star of the show. Mike Brown, do we need 9 fans to sort that beep out? There's a lot of love for the beep. A Google user, the beep will outlive Evans' reign. Amy,
smash that thing out in a minute.
Well, don't, because if you might need it. Alarms save lives, to be seriously. Amy, back on point. Facebook user, point taken that Lambert has been poor as a manager. However, why is it that no one seems to question the ownership? This decline has been going on ever since Evans came in. If it's not Lambert, it's Keane or Jewell or Hurst. One common denominator. Evans is the whole system that has been working. I'm afraid that no manager under this ownership can turn things around. What do you say to that? Because Stephen's shaking his head. So what do you say?
You can't argue with it. Evans is the underlying problem. The problem is that Lambert's the more immediate one. Evans isn't going anywhere. Lambert should be. Lambert should have been gone this time last year, nearly. So that for me is the more immediate problem. Is I want to get out of this league this year. We're not going to, but I think that we've got more chance of doing it if we get rid of Lambert. So for me, that's the thing. Also, we haven't mentioned did I see on Twitter that he didn't turn up for the press conference again today?
Yeah, was it
I just don't understand how that's acceptable.
It's not.
He doesn't bother after games. He doesn't bother at pre-match
It really
conferences.
isn't. It really isn't, and we will come on to that. Yeah, that's a very valid point. Surely you do all parts of the job, Kally. Like, when you sign up to a job, you've got your job description. One of those at the moment is meeting the media. Whether you like them, doesn't matter, does it?
That's him though. He has to be the centre of thing. He's got an ego. He's probably said he's played at Borussia Dortmund more times than he's won games for Ipswich. Right, that's a fact. Well, yeah. I'm making that fact up, but it could be a fact, right? It sounds right and probable.
One man will know, and that is Statman. He will know. So, Statman, if you're watching, can we have it dropped in and confirmed? Stephen, I love you. I'm going to bring in TJ. Look after yourself. Beep, beep. TJ, welcome in. Lambert's not meeting the media. Stuart Taylor's taking the training. So, I imagine Lambert was there today. But where are you on it all? It's madness. The circus rolls on.
Well, Stuart Taylor's tackling the flares as well at this rate. So, yeah.
Action man.
Yeah, exactly. Matt Gill will be doing the next slot, won't he? Yeah. I saw it this morning, and my initial thought was, I'm not sure on this. And I've been thinking about it all day. Like, why do I feel like this? Because action is better than inaction. But I think it's because we're just conditioned. I think we're conditioned. We've had the talk Kally said about Sleepy Suffolk and stuff like that. We're conditioned into this cycle of being a kind club, a family club. We've not seen something like this before, whereas we've seen it abroad in France or something. And we're like, oh, God, we're doing this. Well, we're in the Daily Mail now. That's got 1 million people reading it. One of our ex-players is tweeting about it. We're like, oh, God, all this attention. But it's what we need. And I think what's the most important thing now is how do we build on it if there's no change this week and we don't get what we want? Like, what are the next steps? I'm not saying go to the training ground and set flares off. That's probably personally not what I would have done. I still don't know what I would have done, so it's probably an invalid argument. But yeah, it's keeping the pressure on. It's keeping the pressure on now as to what we do next, and maybe we all need to have a little think about what we would do in that situation.
It's never an invalid argument or an opinion, TJ. It's true. Look, I'll give a lot of love to a guy that I don't think's on Twitter anymore, Mark Beck. He came up with the 5-point plan of action just before the lockdown. I attended the meeting. Not many people did, sadly. But you're right. You need something else. This is what I've been calling for on the shows previously, a plan after the banner. And I spoke, Rich has reached out to Blue Action, a couple of times, and we've not had anything come back. And I would just like to say again, discuss things with us. Don't come on the show if you don't want to, that's fine. But off air, discuss things with us so we can formulate a plan around your actions to further engage them, to fuel them. Because if we go off on that direction and you go off on that direction, it's just a scattergun approach that is never going to work. It's about working together. And today was really effective. It got the conversation flowing, as TJ said. But now it's about more, Amy. We need to go further, and tomorrow, next week, 6 weeks, whatever. But it's about getting together and formulating a plan, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. I think the main problem at the moment is actually the fan base. We are at each other's throats all the time. We are, because everybody's angry. My dad the other week got a lot of grief on Twitter for criticising Stuart Watson. Not a big fan of what my dad said, but the nastiness coming back. I didn't speak to him for a couple of days, so I was like, no, Stuart Watson was bang on, Dad, shush. But anyway, I think this is the problem, is going at each other. Somebody wants to watch. I got criticised for watching the game the other day because I wanted to watch it because I was on the podcast. And I think it's just about leaving each other alone and supporting what each other is doing. And that includes the protest. Whatever you feel you need to do at the moment. Do you know what? Now, I'm looking forward to this Saturday being on with you again, because it's what gets me through the week, is knowing that I'm coming on this show. If that's what we're doing, then I don't think we have a right to criticise other people. And I think the only way you're going to get people joining you is by being supportive and inviting them, like you say. And I think you're absolutely bang on. I think that's been probably the most important part of this show now, is finding a way of coordinating. I mean, how did Blackpool do it? How did Hull do it? Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, Blackpool obviously got what they wanted in the end, although that was because Oyston was such a horrendous person.
Look at Charlton. Look at Charlton. They went abroad to where the director's other club was and had their protest. You know, and Facebook says it must continue. It's not a one-off, can't be forgotten. Louis says problem is if they voice their actions, the club will shut it down before it even starts. Kally.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So there's a couple of things. There's two things we won't consider here, right? Is one, like we said earlier, is it's new to our fan base. It's a new type of thing to do, or not new as in it's not happened, but it's not something we do a lot, right? So it's a generational thing, one generation or whatever. The other thing is the scope of protest. Like I've protested quite a lot over the last 12 months, or whatever, for various things. The scope of protests have changed because of COVID and everything. So there are certain things that you have to keep under lids or whatever for fear of either the club shutting it down, authorities or whatever. I'm not saying that, you know, people protesting and breaking any laws or regulations, but you can even stay 2 meters apart, but it's and have masks on and everything, but still the police will still want to move you on. So there's the scope of protest. That's not something that Blue Action are going to be able to answer. It's something that, you know, people need to think about. The other clubs, even outside of COVID, like we were talking about earlier, they've voiced their opinions at managers before. They've churned out a lot of managers. We don't do that. So we're looking at it from kind of two new things. It's got to be the thing that keeps pushing us on. And I think the best way, like the whole Mark Beck thing, I didn't know about that until you guys said it before, whatever. And, you know, great guy and everything. But so now's kind of the time, especially with the last 12 months or whatever with lockdowns, people have tuned in more and more to digital content, be it Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You'll get more engagement now if you had that type of thing. Like if you imagine if all the content people at Ipswich, so, you know, this place, Blue Action, you know, Kings of Anglia or whatever, and Naked Footy, I'm forgetting the name, it is Naked Footy, and then say with Blue Action and with other people, and you had a plan, then it's like, this is what we can do. And even if it was a case of things saying, look, we've got to keep it closed to, you know, make sure that, you know, the information's held tight or whatever and only released at certain times or whatever, then so be it. But then bring those people in from the beginning, have a dozen people from across the fan base, and then they can distribute that information downwards to each of their channels and feeds and all the rest of it.
But it's about keeping them in the loop, keeping everybody in the loop, and you know, it's stronger in numbers, strength in numbers, as they say. Matt Stannard, I agree, Amy, but then we need to respect those that don't agree with the protests or cancel. Absolutely, and if you abuse each other, you know, this is what I love about this platform, is that we have opinions. We may not all agree, but when Ben came on, he was heard, debated, and that was it. We stayed one. We're a fan base, and we all have, you know, it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. Ipswich Town is our passion, and that's what we're here for. And you shouldn't abuse anybody. And I see it on Twitter, and it's silly. It's from the same number of people.
Well, and it's been in the comments today, naming no names, Mr. Cruncher, Muppet, Delusional. I've seen them all.
Oh, he loves one. He's the worst, Liam.
But that's the thing. Sometimes it's taken as banter, and sometimes look, I admin that blooming Facebook forum, and it is blokes going at each other on a Saturday night. I didn't bother this weekend because I was getting drunk, but it's just somebody will say something joking, but it doesn't come across like that on social media. So stick a flipping laughing emoji or something if you are banter. But anyway, I don't want to tell people how to behave.
I'm the worst one for that. My wife always says, "Well, put a laughing emoji." Then I'm like, "Well, they know I'm joking."
When you think that the whole banter thing, so the whole banter thing, I've had a few people at me or whatever, right? The whole banter thing is it can be banter. So if say you know, there's a few of us that are cricket fans as well. If say some of them are going to at me in the morning when we did Abysmal or whatever, I know we're having a laugh and joke. I know I don't know him, but I know him on Twitter. I know him like that. When it's random people you don't know, right? You know, and you're just like, hold on, I don't know you, so like, that's your opinion. I can see what you're trying to do or whatever, but you know, I just try to keep it moving. I'm mute them and just keep it moving. So it's one of those.
Love the mute button. Trigger Lee, the club have brought it on themselves. We've been poor on the pitch all season, but their PR is shambolic. The Phil Hamster not doing press conferences. TJ, talk me about that. Is Trigger Lee right here? They've brought it on themselves, haven't they? They've really piss poorly managed every situation.
Yeah, I think what we've got now is a battle between being proactive and being reactive. And we've talked about how we can join these different groups of Ipswich Town up together to have like a single. I think we need a single voice, because Lambert out is what the majority want, but what is the main key message and what is the main few reasons behind it? If we all get behind that and we can convey that in a way that we work together, that's fine. The club, we know, is reactive in everything they do. Transfer policy, how they communicate with us, how they communicate with Phil Ham. You've just said it there. We need to be the proactive force here against our club, which is reactive, which we don't like to see. And we have to try and steer them away from what they're doing, really, and show them what we expect. That's what we need. And yeah, they have dealt with everything absolutely appallingly. I unfortunately work in PR, so yeah, I can see this is an absolute shit show.
Absolutely. I'll bring Stuart in. Stuart, welcome in, my man. Thanks for waiting there. Hope you're well. King of the passion rant. King of the passion rant is Stuart. Stuart, talk to me about what George suggests here. Fly a drone of the stadium. That's COVID secure and would get games postponed. I'm not saying to anyone to do that. But as an idea, where do you sit on that? Like, trying to force a game to postponement, or other ideas of where Blue Action could take it. Where are you with it?
Well, I hope it don't go that far. Because at the end of the day, we still want to watch something that we all enjoy on the Saturday, on the Tuesday.
Are you enjoying it with Paul Lambert in charge? Are you sitting here?
No. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm enjoying it with Paul Lambert. I'm not. I'm absolutely not. But I just don't want things to go down that far.
Yeah.
I think this.
But if it has to, then it has to.
I'm saying it comes back to what is the overall goal? How are we gonna? What is the 5-point plan to get Lambert out or whatever, right? And people need to come. And I'm happy to be involved in any conversations. I'm sure other people are as whatever. I don't know how much I can do in Coventry, but I'm happy to be. Outside lockdown, I'll be up and down at A14 and M6. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But we need to decide what we're doing, because do we just want the game postponed, or is it about? For me, it's about applying that pressure and taking it more national. Adding all that, if we get another Sky game, making sure that we've got some sort of protest outside the Sky game. Everyone remembers Charlton throwing tennis balls onto a pitch. I want that kind of thing, right? We're not saying the tennis balls or whatever, but that kind of thing that every football fan will be like, oh, do you see what happened with Ipswich the other weekend? Oh, okay, it's going there. It started with Darren Bent. That's the ripples. But we need to all decide. I don't have the answers, but if we all decide, who knows?
Do they release the viewing figures after a game? I don't think I've ever
Ipswich Town do not. Andy Holt of Axel Stanley is very transparent with his viewing figures. Ipswich Town have got as much transparency as I don't know. I don't know what. I can't even give an analogy to it. They just don't say anything. They don't come forward.
It wouldn't even matter if we all refuse to watch it the next home game, because
not the home game, no, because they've got the season ticket money. They've got that already, and they're already winning on that one, because the iFollow costs a tenner, and per ticket, season ticket, I think it's more than a tenner, so they're winning on that. This is the only way, TJ. This is it. You need to hurt the PR, because this is now the clubs. People are looking at Ipswich Town Football Club, and they're looking at us negatively.
Maybe our headline should be "I don't follow." Maybe that's what we want.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's part of our plan. We're not going to fund the club this way. We're going to support Ipswich because that's all we are, but we're not going to support the regime behind it. And we just have to say, sorry, you've got to suck it up until you listen to us, because you're not listening to us. Anyone in the country can see that we're floundering. We're 12th in League One. Like, I'm sure you've all got mates who talk to you from the outside, like, what the hell are you doing down there? Like, what's happened? And like, nobody really knows unless you're in this bubble that we're in. But the club aren't even in it. I don't know where they are. I don't know where Marcus is. Is he in the UK? Is he somewhere else? I don't know what he's doing. So yeah, we need a joined up effort.
Absolutely. And we know that the people within the club watch this show. We know that, Kally. We know that this show is seen by those within the powers of Portman Road, or the corridors of Portman Road, rather. So this is it. This sort of thing is, it sounds big-headed because I'm the way making the content, but this sort of thing works. People hear you.
Absolutely. You've got so much difference of opinion constructively talked about on these shows, right? It's better than a back and forth on Twitter or whatever. So you've got everyone coming over here. So you've got a real good kind of range of Ipswich opinions, right? How people are feeling. So, maybe the kind of one of the plans on the 5-point plan to protest or whatever is, I just heard it now when Amy was talking about it, but about funding the away club for the away games and paying the tenner to them, because football is an addiction. I've still, I know people talk about cancelling season tickets. I have not. I've still got my season ticket, and I'll tell you in a minute why. But I've still got my season ticket, and I know, look, tomorrow I'm going to watch it. We play shit. Saturday I'm going to watch it. We play shit. Mrs. has got the calendar for all the Ipswich games on her phone, so she knows that, okay, he's going to be a bit pissed off or whatever. let me leave him be for an hour to stew or whatever, right? Or I need to jump on Call of Duty and kill someone or something. But I think, funding the away thing, that could work. In terms of season ticket, I think it's gone so far now where if you cancel it, and I'm not entirely sure if this is 100%, but certainly from an agreement point of view, you're breaking your agreement with the club, so whatever you've taken out. So therefore, by default, you kind of give up any compensation you may be entitled to.
Yeah, I don't think I think the last I read, again, social media is full of misinformation. I think that was. I don't think if you cancelled it, you were going to be affected. I think whatever you paid, you would. But again, social media is all about misinformation, and it's hard to decipher.
I haven't been clear on it.
Again,
do you trust Ipswich to do the right thing?
Well, I think Statman tweeted at himself, and that he was still waiting for it from last year. So I mean, as Sid says, they're about as transparent as one of his bricks, and that's the truth of the matter. And that's part of the reason why we are. We lack the basic leadership. We really do. And last
could there
week,
be something we as a podcast could do on a Saturday and not watch the game?
Potentially, I don't know what that does though, because I see a lot of people banging that drum.
Yeah,
I think you just go. We've got an idea there about the away game. Let's look at the next away game. Is it Saturday? Are we playing away on Saturday?
So we are. I should know. I'm bloody covering it, ain't I? Every single. Let's have a look. Hang on. I've got to be honest. They merged into one in the end. I just make thumbnails for them. We're at home on Saturdays at Oxford.
When's the next away game? When's the next away game?
Whole Tuesday night, which is a watch along. So you could all come here, and I could watch it, one person, and I could tell you what's going on, and we could chew the fat out of it down.
It's very hard to get people to stop watching it. Like, the club
absolutely.
could be on fire. We'll be in the National League, and I'll still watch Ipswich. Right? That's facts. But I'm going to pay my tenner to Hull. Let's encourage people to pay that tenner to Hull. Right? Yeah. If you get 100 or so, or 500, or however many people, if we can reach out to this and get the same message across all the pods, so reach out to Blue Action, reach out to Kings of Anglia, all the rest of them, and say, look, put that out there as a message, right? And say, pay for the away fans. That's then a step on this protest or whatever that we're talking about. It's all about ripples, because then all of a sudden that may get picked up as a story. Or that may be like, hold on, clubs are struggling for money, fans are dying to watch their clubs, but Ipswich ain't even paying for their club. They're going to pay the away team. That's pretty, I don't know.
Something tells me the iFollow rules of how the distribution of finances works I don't think that tallies. I think there's a certain quota, and then it all goes over. So somebody in the chat, here we go, Cruncher. First 500 iFollows goes to the home team. And then I think the rest goes to the away team. Someone in the chat, fill me in on the iFollow financials. I think what Kally says, it sounds good in theory, but actually that's not the agreement of how an iFollow works. I might be wrong. It's just a little gnaw in the back of my head telling me I don't think that's quite right. Look, it is what it is. We've got a game tomorrow. Stuart, before I let you go, and TJ, before I let you go, what do you want to see from Blue Action next? What do you want the next steps to be? Stuart, you can kick us off, then TJ.
Well, I want to see something planned out and figured out accordingly. Because yes, we're in lockdown. Yes, we having a struggle getting our voices heard, and obviously Blue Action doing their own thing. And I'm not against Blue Action. I'm totally for it. But I would say hold on a minute and let's see what happens after what they did this morning.
Okay, perfect. Stuart, as always, appreciate you. King of the Passion.
Lovely show, guys.
Love the jumper as well. Thanks ever so much. I'll bring Curtis in as well. Kurt, you can hang around after TJ's gone to preview Northampton with us. King of the artwork is Curtis. There's some work on the wall behind Kally. Amy was showing me a piece of hers earlier. That looked rather good.
Can you imagine that team?
I know.
If we had that now.
It was good. Kurt, over to you, man. What do you first think of this before I bring TJ back in? What do you think of this?
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I commented earlier. I said how I think I was one of the first people to say that when we were back on Sky, why didn't we do anything in front of Sky then? I thought then would have been the perfect time, and then obviously I then got into a bit of a fracas with one of the lads who run Blue Action there. But I think you've got to give props to them. They've made an impact, which I think in my opinion, this is the first bit of impact that it has probably made, because I think the banners on the wall, they're great for Twitter and they're great to look great on the ITFC hashtag, but we all know by about 6 a.m, those banners get ripped down. No, like probably not one person at that club cares about the banners. But if you're disrupting training, then you have more of a physical impact rather than getting the guy who lifts the gates at Playford Road to come and like undo the clip ties, like and then rip it down. I think you've got to give fair props to him, to be fair, aren't you? Absolutely, yeah. TJ, what do you want sort of next from Blue Action? I suppose just at the top of my head, maybe an advert. They was trying to sell adverts for the seats, weren't they? Maybe you could get something for that, so it's prominent in the iFollow camera, and then nobody will be. No, this is it. Well, this is it. I'm trying to spitball off the top of my head here. I've not prepared anything. Maybe your cardboard cutouts. Maybe you do something there. I mean, what do you want as the next steps? I'm trying to have ideas here. I don't know.
I think this is exactly it. Like, there needs to be a joined up approach. We need to have a proper think about it. Let this week get out of the way. Lambert might be gone for all we know if we have two shockers coming up. So then job done. But then we need to put pressure on Marcus to appoint the next manager and put the structure in place. And we need to kind of get Ipswich back a bit, because it's gone arse over tit at the minute. We need to have a joined up approach. It would be good to have communication between Blue Action and us. And if there's going to be something planned, then we can work with the media to get this out for in time when it happens, so it's not reactive like the Daily Mail have picked it up from somewhere. We target these journalists straight away and say, this is going to happen, get ready to write about it. And just let them know.
PJ, as always, appreciate you, my brother. Look after yourself. Kally, Matt Stannard just confirms here in the chat. The way it works currently is that the home team keep all the revenue for the tickets they sell through their own website. They also get the revenue for the first 500 that buy via away team. So if we sell 2,000 away tickets for Hull, Ipswich get 1,500 of those sales.
But then if we sell no tickets and we all buy a Hull
ticket, if we buy via Hull,
Hull keep the money.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's up to you.
So if you go through, so what is that? If you go through Hull, if you go through Hull's website, that's what that's saying. Then it all goes to Hull. Well, there you go. That's a way.
It's an iFollow. It's iFollow, isn't it? So you just go onto Hull's website, or you just go onto the iFollow website or whatever, and you do the subscription thing. So as long as you do it through Hull's site, you'll be on Hull's side.
I would love to see maybe on Saturday.
If you're pissed off with Evans, sorry, I was just gonna say, if you're pissed off with Evans, we don't want to fund him, but we still want to watch the game. That's the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah. I would love to see everybody maybe tweeting a screenshot of them buying it from Oxford, or is Oxford at home?
No,
Oxford's at home. It's Hull's the next way. And if we planning it a little bit in advance means that we can get everybody involved. We use TJ's hashtag I don't follow, which I really like.
That's brilliant.
And you just encourage everybody to do it at the same time, so that on the day of the Hull game, we get I don't follow trending.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. There's enough people that watch the show.
I like that idea. Curtis, where do you sit on that one? It's better than anything we've heard so far, I think.
I think rather than, like you say, if you're not going to want to fund the club and you still want to watch the game, you may as well fund someone else. At least then you get to watch the game. And well, I'm not sure. I mean, is the Hull fans still like their ownership? I was about to say the money might go into better hands, but I mean, it's better in someone else. To be fair. So
sorry, I was gonna say, sorry, bro. I was just saying, I don't care. I'm being selfish. I just don't want to give money to Evans. I don't care I don't care if he's the Hull owner's a bloody Saudi bloody millionaire who's got human rights crimes. I don't care. You can take my tenner. Maybe
Yeah,
that's a bit deep, but I'm not giving the money to Evans. No chance. If I can do it that way, we'll have a look at it, and it works that way. That's how I'm paying for the rest of the away games for the rest of the season.
Evans should be arrested for breaching my human rights.
Matt Stanley can make a lovely. I could certainly make a lovely montage out of that. That'd be good. Yeah, Facebook user, clever and effective. F.A. Albert. Let's give Marcus a surprise plane pie, which I can't read the rest of that. The Cruncher, I will buy through town, not funding it. You said no, Cruncher. I'm sorry. I'll work with you. I love you, but you are literally. You will sit on the show Sunday, and you will literally fly off on one if Lambert's still here and we've lost. But yet this needs to happen, man. This is
also Hull aren't a rival club because they're better than us. We're never going to keep up with them this year, so I wouldn't even worry about it.
And if they go up, it'll be on their next year's budget sheet. It won't be on this year's budget sheet. Every club works to a yearly budget. It's not like Town have given us 4,500 tickets. Go and buy that striker next week. There's a window. It's not like that. I completely disagree with you there, Crunch. But we have got a game tomorrow. I will read through some of these comments, and then we'll move on to the Northampton preview. Guys, just very quickly, it's Ipswich, Northampton. It's going to be a game. Nick Muller, you can just go on a watch long and put in comments your views. Watch long will be here Tuesday. Do not forget. Lord Graham, welcome in, Lord. How about we buy tickets away? What? How about we be I can't read that. It's too late for me. Stephen Perry,
the suggestion is to buy away tickets for the home games as well, which I think is a really good idea. But obviously, most people would have season tickets, so they're not going to
If you ain't got a
buy.
season ticket, then
Facebook user, surely it's a bad idea to not financially support our club. This is run by a multi-millionaire. Sorry, not his words, mine. During these times when clubs are close to disappearing all over the country.
Desperate times. Desperate times in COVID. Desperate times at Ipswich.
Apparently, we die without Marcus Evans because he's so loaded that we need him more than he needs us. That's all I've heard. So surely the man can cope without a few extra £10 in his pocket. So that is all I've heard. Whenever anyone said, "Well, we can't do anything about the owner," what's an extra few £10 to win there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly.
They're taking everyone's season ticket money anyway, so do you know what I mean? I mean, what do we think numbers are? I think when Accrington released their numbers, they're like, was it 1,500 one game, about 2,000 another game? Obviously, they're a smaller club.
When they released the numbers for Ipswich, it wasn't a high number. Like when it said, because it had the home, was it their home game here or away game? One of those two, but the number for Ipswich wasn't particularly high. So I don't think all season ticket holders are taking up the iFollow offering anyway, which in a family of more than one season ticket, you perhaps wouldn't, So that's another thing. I know George loves the drone idea. He's putting it about 4 or 5 times in the chat. Bless him. He's all over the drone idea. Cruncher, are you still paying for your... That's absolutely irrelevant. I love my football club and it's already in the bank. What do you want me to do? I want my cancellation. That's absolutely irrelevant. But I have no problems for Hull City away going to Hull and buying my ticket because I don't know why we haven't done it earlier, to be absolutely honest.
It's a genius idea. Absolute genius idea for me. I only heard it when Amy said it earlier. That is genius. It
is. It really is. And I think it's because of the sort of the lack of transparency or the lack of knowledge, I suppose, about how the iFollow works. We all thought over a certain number it wouldn't matter. But actually, it does. It depends on which avenue you go through, which is the most important bit. And I'm loving it. I'm all for that. I really, really am. Lee Anderson, Cruncher shooting from the hip tonight, but continues to miss the target.
Lovely.
Talking of missing the target, Marcus Bisla, I can put darts on the drone. The drone's, it's an idea in the pot, not an idea.
Has George got a drone? Has George got a drone?
He must have to sell.
Is he a drone salesman? He's the drone salesman.
He's the monorail guy from The Simpsons, but he's a drone. I've got a drone for you all. Facebook user, I do agree that he's a millionaire, which should be enough, but we are constantly told that we won't. But this is it, Stockholm syndrome. But my view is the new owner would surely be in a position to support the club financially too. It takes time to take a leap of faith and move on, I think. I agree. Talking and moving on, Northampton tomorrow night. Strikers shooting from the hip, not hitting the target. Sounds like Town. What do we expect from tomorrow night's proceedings? Northampton, obviously a side that came up from League 2 last year. got to be 3 points? Or if it's not 3 points, is it finally with this now as well? Bye-bye, Mr. Evans. Lambert, I wish
Lambert.
Evans. Both.
Well, Lambert's got his ready-made excuse, hasn't he? Training been disrupted today. That's why we lost. Well, it won't be because he's refusing to pay 2 up front still. It'll be, what do you reckon the team will be? 5 changes again, I reckon.
Refreshed. But they should be refreshed. They should be fresh, ready to go, raring, Kurt. Shouldn't they? They didn't plan Saturday.
Well, if you were there today at the training ground, would that not fire you up as a player? If anything, would that not make you want to? Well, I hate to bring up Norwood, but would it not make you want to put the proverbial 2 fingers up at the fans and actually start to show that you aren't a sack of shite? Like,
if they care
as I said, the whole thing as well, and this is what pissed a lot of people off, me included, about Stuart Taylor, was this wasn't aimed at the players. We've been very targeting about who we're attacking, right? Because we know, and said, well, me and a few others, I think, may share the same opinion, is the squad is good enough. I think that's what I said before about green shoots and when we play Blackpool, right? That game, I think you can see that we've got a squad there. I think we'll end up having, hopefully, Kenny and Matheson back tomorrow. We'll get a win. But even if we don't, nothing's going to change. Right, Lambert ain't going yet. We need to keep piling on the pressure. The flares are a good idea. The protest is good, but that alone as an isolated thing ain't going to do it. We need to keep piling the pressure now.
Absolutely.
And hats off to them.
Charles Commons, you won't lose. We haven't scored in 7 games. Oh, brilliant! We're the perfect remedy for that, aren't we, Amy?
every time. Charles will have to make sure he comes back on again tomorrow, and we can all say to him, "We told you so."
Yeah. 7 games, I make that at least 3-1. You might win.
Absolutely.
You know.
You think we'll score?
Probably an own goal. They'll score all 4 in the game. Curtis, Di Cornell came from Northampton last season. I had the Northampton chap on in the summer. He wasn't very impressed with Di Cornell. Is he going to start tomorrow night? I mean, Holy has looked shaky the last couple of games. You got to be honest.
In my opinion, he is the best of a bad bunch.
How bad's that bunch?
Exactly.
Cornell or Holy?
Cornell. Like I mean, I saw someone say the other day on Twitter, "Oh, we should be giving Harry Wright a chance." Not a chance. He'll get released in the summer. He's unfortunately Pershebek got closer. Well, he got his debut against Peterborough, and I actually thought he looked a better keeper than Holy even in that game. So I think out of the 2 keepers that we've got registered, I think you've got to have Cornell back in. Not that I think he's any better than Holy. I just think in terms of shot stopping, and he gives me a little bit more faith when balls come into the box. Which, to be honest, when you've got a keeper who's about 13'6", you'd imagine that he's the keeper you'd be relying on when those crosses are swung in. It's a bit.
He gets taller every time.
It upsets me that we've gone through stages in the years of having such good keepers, and yet we are now at a stage.
Did you see the tweet earlier today? There was one going around of the ballet football, which was hilarious. I think that was Ipswich Town fans. And there was another one someone tweeted of blind football, and the keeper is laid down horizontally across the mouth of the goal. I was like, that looks like Holy. That's basically what he does. That's about how much he moves all game. It was very funny. It did make me think of our defenders.
He's not been good enough, has he?
No, he's not a good keeper.
But what keeper's been good since Jimmy Walker's come in? Like, and that's because you think Malcolm Webster left, and then our decline in keeper quality has just rapidly got. I mean, does he fancy coming out of retirement? But by the training regime that I see Jimmy Walker do, when we were able to go to away games, it was very much straight down the throat of the keeper, and then give it a quick bounce to the keeper, and then the keepers walk in and clap their hands like that. Like that's the best thing. Like, I mean, it's Sunday League training at best. Like, is it not?
It really is. Who start up front for you guys then tomorrow? Would you go with 2? Would you go with the 1? Would it be Norwood and Parrott on his own?
Parrott and Norwood for me. I think if I was James Norwood now, especially after all the hate that he received, rightly so. I think you would. I think he has to, like, again, proverbially stick the 2 fingers up at the fans now and start showing what he's about and prove everyone wrong if he can. I don't think he can, but if there's a time, now's the time, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Kally, we're the only club, sorry, to persist with a striker that doesn't score, and then once he does score, drop him in Drilling. Like, so many weeks I was like,
yeah, but come on, Drilling, listen. Don't, if you're gonna start saying that, oh, Drilling's got a goal, I'm not. He slid. It was a slide tackle.
It don't fucking matter. He scored a goal.
Yeah,
how many times did I sit here and say, I don't care how he gets a goal off his butt cheeks? I wouldn't get how he does it. Get it? He got it. He ain't been seen since.
No, but he has. Listen, coming into a game ain't gonna do nothing. He is like what Alan Judge was at the beginning of the season, headless chicken, running around. Right? He's got a nice little touch and everything. No end product. He's still young. He still needs to go out and learn his trade or whatever. And to throw him in a team that's struggling for goals, there's a lot of pressure there. I don't rate Norwood. I've said it a lot of times before, right? I think he's overrated. I think Jackson's a better striker, but that's a different conversation. But Norwood over Drinnan every day. But
absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. But I'm not defending Drinnan. Don't get me wrong. But you have to be honest. I mean, we did sit here and say he shouldn't be playing, and the moment he does score, it seems like, oh, hang on, you've done your job. You scored a goal. Quick, get him out of the team. He might go on a run here. Don't want this happening.
Did we ever think about what his last touch of the ball was when he scored that? Did he thrust it in, or?
Yeah, it was a slide tackle. It was sliding for the ball.
Jason DeVos.
On paper, you hit slide tackle.
It came. And he just forced his body at it. And I thought, you know what, mate? if you're gonna get a goal one way, you may as well do it that way.
I do think you've got to bear in mind that we did have the new players come in at the end, the new loan players come in, and that was essentially what shifted the team around, was making room for them.
Half of the loan players are shit.
Well, maybe. I personally haven't seen enough of them, and also I don't think it's fair to say many of our players are shit at the moment, because the whole team is, if that makes sense. I think it's the way they're being set up. You cannot judge them properly at the moment. And which was the one from Barnsley? Was that Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him so far. I thought he was useful, but that is in a team of pretty much useless at the moment. But I think it's hard to judge people who've only just come into the team when it is such a mess. And for me, the problem is he's doing it yet again, but all the changes that he's making when he doesn't need to. 4 changes after a win was ridiculous. Yeah, and I just don't see how he can justify it when that was what caused the problem last year, was all the changes he made for cup games and midweek games and all of that. So for me, it's too early to judge the loan players, but I do think that's probably why that would maybe be the reason for Drinnan getting dropped, was because we had those new players and a completely new approach after those 2 loan players had come in. That was the day that we signed a player and then he was positive with COVID, because we are Ipswich Town.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. So score predictions as we round up tonight's Monday night Talking Town extra time. Kurt, kick us off. Score prediction headed tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 0-0 with first shot on target for us in the 70th minute.
Sexy Lambert football, Kurt. We love you, appreciate you. Those are the green shoots we've all been told about. First shot, 70-odd minutes. Amy, how about you?
I'm going to go with a scrappy 1-goal win, like we did when McGuinness scored from that free kick. I think it would be thoroughly undeserved, but in theory, we should be the team with the slightly more quality tomorrow, and that should play out, I think. But I just think it's going to be dragging everything on for even longer, isn't it?
Okay. Kally?
I think we're going to have a very similar game to Blackpool. I think it'll be the same sort of players. I would expect, we want 2 up top, but I got a feeling he'll say, look, I tried 2 against Peterborough, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So he's going to go back to 4-3-3. That's my theory. I think Parrott will start, Norwood will come on because he's hasn't he said that Norwood can only do 45 minutes, or Matt Gill said something. He can only do 45 or 60 minutes. So I think I'll go for the same scoreline, 2-0. And I would like to see Parrott get a goal, because if anyone's going to go on a run out of our strikers between Norwood, Drizzy, and Jackson's not a striker, he doesn't play in there anyway, and Parrott, I think Parrott's the one that could go on a bit of a goal scoring run.
All right, totally agree with you. Right, we are back tomorrow, 6:30, 7 p.m. kickoff. So 6:30 for the match day ticket, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Amy, Kally, and to everybody else that's joined me this evening, thank you all so much. And we'll see you all again tomorrow evening. With love, with care. Take care.
Hello, and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.